I think the audio's off again.
Was the audio off? My bad.
Yes, it was.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Plastic in Disguise. I'm Pedro Rodriguez.
I'm Alan Kaplan.
And tonight we have a special guest with us. Tonight we have a really, really awesome artist responsible for this awesome cover, Livio Ramondelli.
Hello. Pleasure to speak to you.
Welcome, Livio.
Thank you.
How you doing, bro? First of all, great job. Great job on this cover.
Well, thank you so much.
All right. It has, I think Alan would agree, it has everything a Transformers the movie cover needs to have, especially
Absolutely.
Optimus Prime with the Matrix.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
And I love the Decepticons, I love the season 1 Decepticons on the left-hand side, and the season 3 on the right-hand side with a nice Unicron, actually a nice Cybertron in the background. It's a really nice piece. I love it. It's got that G1 aesthetic, but you could tell it's modern. It was done today.
Thank you. Yeah, we definitely tried that with the cover, is to kind of honor the movie, so you would hopefully know it comes just from the original animated movie, but also felt really current and modern as well. So yeah, it was a real honor to get to do that.
Yeah, Hasbro, if you're listening, I want figures based on these designs, okay? But first of all, it's really cool. I've never met somebody that's designed an official DVD cover, and I'm never talking about bootlegs either. All right. How did you get designed for this? How did you get picked for this project?
So the company that put out the movie was Shout Factory. They've done a lot of Hasbro stuff over the years, a lot of Transformers stuff, and in the past they've drawn from the IDW pool of artists, which I work for IDW. I've worked on Transformers there for about 6 years. So some of my good friends, like Guido Guidi, did the cover for the movie a couple years ago. Andrew Griffith. No, that was another great piece. Like Andrew Griffith's done some great work for them on some of the animated movie or animated cartoon series collections. And then I think they're always looking to do new art, and they were a great company. They reached out. Brian Ward was the producer on the movie. So he contacted me about doing it. And Brian Ward's a great guy, and he's a great Transformers fan too. Like, I think it was a big passion project for him, and that's why there's great new special features on the movie, like new interviews with some really key people. And Brian Ward's responsible for all that. So yeah, that's how I got picked.
That's awesome. Because I love all those Transformer artists. And I actually have a question.
Cool.
Is Guido Italian? Does he live in Italy?
Yeah, he does. He lives in Italy. I met him for the first time in in Japan, just a couple months ago. But yeah, I've been a fan of his work forever. So yeah.
Yeah, he used to draw. I used to be really into. I used to be into the. I think it was the. He might have done some Devil's Due, G.I. Joe, when it became America's Elite.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember, Alan. But yeah,
I do.
Now, what other work have you done, Livio?
The coolest thing, or my personal favorite I've got to is IDW, is I did a series called Autocracy, which was co-written by Flint Dille, who was a big story guy on the animated series, and also Chris Metzen, who's Blizzard's big creative guy. So the three of us did like a trio of series together, which were sort of like the origin of Optimus Prime in the IDW universe, and it shows how he finds the Matrix and how he and Megatron sort of go their separate ways, and those were really like a dream project.
Oh wow!
That was sort of the start.
So if somebody wants to look this up, what was the name of the series?
The first one is called Autocracy, and then we did a trilogy. So the second one is Monstrosity, and the third one is Primacy.
Nice.
So they formed, one ongoing but still kind of self-contained series. But yeah, that was a blast to work on.
So Livio, for the cover of the Blu-ray itself, now were you given any kind of direction, or did you by yourself just come up with a sketch of what you wanted, or multiple sketches, and did those have to go through specific approval processes?
It was pretty smooth. I think Shout Factory and Brian had some specific ideas of what they wanted, but they were all good ideas. They definitely wanted Optimus Prime and Hot Rod. They wanted Unicron in there. And he's such a focus of the movie that it's like that. It just makes sense. And then in the background, they definitely wanted, background characters. They didn't spell out everyone, but, Megatron and Galvatron were sort of specified. The first one was kind of similar to this final one. It was Optimus Prime and Hot Rod they were standing back to back. kind of guns out, basically taking on two armies together. The background was virtually the same. And I think
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah, it was neat. I think the thing I grew to not like about that one was there was less of a focus. They were both sort of facing away from the camera, I think right now they're both sort of looking straight ahead. We did a third one I kind of liked, but it was all the Autobots running forward, and in the background coming over the horizon, like a sun rising was Unicron's eye, which I kind of like that idea, that it was such a big threat. It was like the sun coming up.
Oh,
So that
absolutely.
was a cool yeah, so I mean, hopefully maybe we'll share those one day, some of the rough sketches.
Oh, I'd love to see
Yeah.
that, actually. Yeah. So what is your process? Do you go to sketch,
Yeah.
you go to
Yeah.
pencil, ink, and paint, or because your work is very unique, your work has a very metallic look to it. It has a very almost like a 3D look to it.
Yeah.
You do it all. You don't have any inker working with you. You have no painter working with you. It's all you from start to finish.
Yeah. So I do layouts straight to pencil, and then from pencil I scan it in, and then in Photoshop you can sort of adjust the pencil so it becomes very dark, like it's been inked. So then I go pencil straight to painting, digitally painting.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
And I like to leave some of the pencil in there to kind of like, I'm always trying to fight it looking too artificial. I want it to look like it's still kind of been created by a person. So I like kind of including some of the pencil strokes still in there, not erasing all that. So yeah.
Okay, that's great, because it's very unique, because a lot of comic art today and a lot of comic art throughout time really you have somebody who's a separate pencil, you have a separate inker, and a separate color. So it's very unique to have an artist who basically does everything from soup to nuts, and it makes it look very unique.
Well, I like to share the image with the folks out there. I'm going to put it on the screen. Can you just give us a rundown what you were thinking about with anything that sticks out that you might want to share about the actual image?
Yeah.
Do you guys have it?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, I knew from the start, like I'm a huge, not just a G1 guy, but specifically an Optimus Prime guy. So I always want him to be the focus on anything that I do, ideally, right? And so we knew, like, we wanted Optimus Prime to be, front and center. But then Hot Rod is such a big part of that movie. And there's also sort of like there's a generational story involved. And so that's why you have the two of them sort of standing side by side. And then you have their various villains in the background. And then the reason I put Megatron and the sort of classic threats on the left rather than on Optimus side was I wanted to kind of strengthen that idea that they are sort of facing this together, It's not just about Optimus Prime representing the past. It's like when Hot Rod takes on the Matrix, Optimus Prime is still part of him. So I wanted to kind of get this circular idea going on. And then, of course, you have Unicron also referencing that in the background.
Yeah, I mistakenly called it Cybertron, but yes, that is Unicron.
Oh, no. Yeah, no worries, man. Yeah. But yeah, and then just kind of like, and then Unicron is such a big part of the movie. Like I was saying, we definitely wanted him in there. He's sort of like the ultimate threat. So
I love the lighting effects coming from his center, and you can see back here the pincers, and just his lighting is just amazing.
Thank you.
Who's involved in and also the colors are great. Who does the coloring on this?
I colored it. Yeah, so I did the line art and the colors.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're saying, Pedro. He's soup to nuts.
He's soup. You're the full package. Because this is gorgeous, and I love the armada of sweeps on the right hand side here.
Thank you. Yeah, it was tough coming up with how many there should be, because you can keep going and put 1 million in, but I was like, hopefully try and limit it. And then you want some balance in the background with Cyclonus and Starscream about equal height, just sort of balancing things out. I don't think it should be completely balanced, but somewhat,
But it's absolutely appropriate. You have Optimus Prime and Hot Rod on the left, and then on each side you have Megatron and Galvatron, and above them you have their, the second in commands, their number ones.
Yeah.
All right. I like that. I like that a lot. And you have in G1, basically Megatron soldiers. And and not G1 in the season 1 and 2, and in season 2, really, the sweeps in the cartoon. Sometimes there were 3, sometimes there were 4, sometimes there were 5.
Yeah.
So it's
always sort of vaguely defined how many. Yeah.
I absolutely love this. Now, who picked the font for the Transformers the movie? Is that something that's done at Shout Factory?
Yeah, Shout Factory does that. Yeah. So, and then it's always cool to because when you do the art, of course, there's no logo. So when you get it back and you see it all put together, it's a real thrill. So
And how?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's the official trade dress, if I'm not mistaken, of that movie.
I think it is. Yeah,
Oh,
I think
wow.
so. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And how do you, when you create this, do you start with pencils on a big artist board, or what? How do you do your art?
It's funny actually, because I'm just remembering now when I was talking about the layouts. I forgot we put it on the Blu-ray. You can actually see the one I was talking about with Unicron's eye coming up over the horizon, and Prime. It's one of the special features where there's like creating the cover featurette. Yeah. So in that you can see like for the layouts, I actually did them on a digital drawing tablet. So they're drawn like all digitally in Photoshop. And then for the final, when we picked the one we want, we did a pencil line art about 11 by 17 size, which is like a standard comic book cover. And then from that, you sort of scan it in. Now this cover was interesting because I knew we'd be moving around elements probably in the composition. So Hot Rod and Optimus are drawn on one layer. Unicron is on a separate layer, and all the guys in the background are on a third layer, so everything can be moved around. So yeah, it's completely kind of separate elements there.
How long does this take? How long does the process of doing something like this?
Depends on the specific image. For this one was, I'm not sure, from start to finish. Line art might have been like 6 hours or something, maybe long. I'm really trying to remember because I'd like to work on it for a couple days and come back to it to see if you're, hopefully not missing anything bad. And then coloring is like another, few hours on top of that. But I mean, for this one, we did go through some alterations on the coloring. Like I think in the background, Unicron's blast was initially orange because in the movie, that's kind of what it is. It's sort of a glowing orange. And I think kind of rightfully so, Shout Factory was like, well, we prefer more blue in it because that is more of a that feels more like a sci-fi traditional Transformer color. So then we switched Unicron's light to be blue, but that's why it is. But there is a version out there that we did, which is orange, and then it's a little bit darker too.
Yeah, I got to say I do like the blue. It makes for a striking cover. And the fact that this Blu-ray is metallic is just it just makes the art stand out. That's just that much more. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, blue as a color always works really good. Like I do a lot of prints on metal these days, on aluminum, and blue is the best color I think for metal printing.
Nice. And are you and then any other Transformer projects with Shout Factory or with IDW you're working on?
I mean, always doing stuff with IDW. Like these days, the big news is they launched this thing called Revolution, which is all the sort of Hasbro brands are coming together. So G.I. Joe and, Mask, everything ROM is coming together and it all be in the same universe.
Micronauts, Visionaries.
Micronauts, yeah. So doing G.I. Joe, like I think I said, and then we're doing all that. So some of the covers I've done recently, I just got to do a cover recently that had Cobra Commander and Megatron together, which that was really fun to do, like to pair those guys together. So, because I've been at IDW about 6 years and I haven't got to do G.I. Joe till now. So it's been fun.
Oh, wow.
Your time there has been all Transformers, right, Livio, for the most part?
Yeah, for years. I mean, I did here and there a couple covers. I did some like Ninja Turtle stuff, some 30 Days a Night. If they would have a big company-wide crossover, I'd do a little bit. But just only recently I got to do some interior pages where G.I. Joe shows up. So, yeah, it's been fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry. I was just going to ask, so how did you get started with IDW? Because obviously, at least to me, I feel like that's where you really exploded onto the scene was through your work with IDW. What led to you getting that position there? What did you do before that?
It was really random. I had two very, very lucky things happen in my life. Like I was finishing art school, and I always wanted to do comics and illustration work, but I was always afraid like freelancing was sort of like a shaky position to be in, So I was thinking, oh shit, I should get like an in-house job at like a video game company because there's concept art positions everywhere. And so super ironically, Jim Lee's company, Wildstorm, had an art blog that I would check for fun, like while I was in school. There's no work reasons at all. And one day they had a job posting because they were looking for people for the DC Universe game. Jim Lee was the art director for that game. That was this big Sony MMO.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
I just randomly sent in, I just randomly sent in my portfolio and I got hired, which is really lucky. That was my first job out of school. So then that was the first insanely lucky thing I had. I was there about 5 years in-house. I learned a lot. I worked with some really great artists. And then IDW Transformers happened because I started doing some comic book conventions where I was setting up an artist alley and I was selling prints. But I was really lucky that Chris Ryle, IDW, one of their editors, their head editors, he walked by and he liked my work and he gave me a card, and then I got hired the next week to do some Transformers covers, which was amazingly lucky, and that's been consistent for about 6 years now. So very, very fortunate. You know, I always tell any like young artists out there, if you're looking to get started, like go to Artist Alley and, you know, just put your work out there. You never know who'll walk by. So.
Awesome.
Oh wow! Oh wow, that's really cool. I always wondered about that because I've always seen a lot of artists that I've never heard of, who you could tell are starting out, and I'm like, oh, that's. I mean, I was always wondering, was it worth it for them to do that? But that makes sense. You have to.
Well, I think these days, yeah, totally. Yeah, I think the same thing too, because I used to think too when I walk with Artist Alley, I'm like, are these guys really like making money? Is it really worth like what you said, like for them to be there? And I think now the attendance numbers of these conventions is so high for most of them that it's like. You really can, you know, make some good money selling your prints and sketchbooks, and then you never know when like an editor could walk by. So it's a really good time to put yourself out there and see what happens.
Oh, very cool, very cool.
Now, Livio, you're always a big presence at Artist Alley. You go to a lot of different shows. Have you been approached by other companies as a result of being out there to have other work done for them as well?
Yeah, I have actually. Yeah, I did. It happened to me again. I did some Star Wars covers for Dark Horse Comics, kind of similarly. You know, I got hired based on my table. Unfortunately, it happened right as the license was moving back to Marvel from Dark Horse. So I only got to do a little bit. So that was kind of bad timing. But I was still really, really thankful for that opportunity. But
awesome.
Yeah, and then you never know. I mean, I've had a lot of us in our I've had really random people come up to us. Like Guillermo del Toro came up to me one year. Wesley Snipes, like really completely out of the blue.
Oh, what did they like in particular? Did they point anything out, or they just? What did they say to you?
The Wesley Snipes one, the Wesley Snipes one was funny. It was a few years ago, and he was walking by with some other people from this company called Radical Entertainment, and he was really quiet. I think he was trying to avoid being noticed. So he just kind of like looked stuff. He gave me a thumbs up. But Del Toro I met last year at Comic-Con. He was wonderful. I mean, my brother and I saw him coming down the aisle. He just moderated a panel, I think, and he walked right up to my table, and he was really nice. I mean, he just said some really complimentary things. And I was like, can I give you anything? Like, you're welcome to have whatever you want. He's like, no. He's like, but I'd love to have your card. And so I was like, by all means, take as many as you want. So, so I mean, that was a really cool experience. Like, he couldn't have been nicer.
Yeah, it's like, take as many as you want. Give them out to your friends while you're at it.
Yeah. You know,
exactly.
Livio, that's serendipity that Del Toro came up to you out because Del Toro does a lot of work with Insight.
Really?
Insight too. I wonder if we can maybe do a connection of some sort. Might be something to think about.
That would
be amazing. I mean, I would be all for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Insight Edition's been a wonderful company to do work for. So, yeah.
Yeah, for those who don't know, so Livio has done some work for Insight Editions. He has done, we're doing a new line of, it's like a Hidden Universe travel guides.
Yeah.
And the one that's being put out very soon is based on the Vulcan world. And so Livio was doing some work for that. I don't know if I could really talk about the other one just yet. So let's just say that you're doing some more work in the Star Trek universe, and we'll leave it at that for the moment. But your work is very eclectic.
Can you blink? In fact, can you blink that information to me so nobody, so only I understand?
Yes. Pedro and I have a blinking language that we understand for each other. You know, we know how to say complete sentences now. It's,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, Livio, I'd love to show off some of your work because as we said, you are very eclectic. You've worked on a great many things. So I can bring up your page here, and then I can go on screen share, and we can pick out a few things. Talk about.
Sure.
So let's see if I can do that. All right, everybody seeing this?
Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
So first of all, for those of you who don't know, Livio's official site is www.livioramondelli.com. The exactly just that way, LIVIORAMONDELLI.com. And this right here is his illustrations page. As you can see, there's a number of different images he's done from all different walks of life. We've got digital paintings, we've got pencil and ink drawings, and I'll go on a few images here. This to me, first of all, I love this Optimus Prime.
Well, thank you.
This is like a quintessential Optimus Prime. So I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about this specific piece, because this appears to me to be one of the iconic IDW pieces.
It is absolutely, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but not for nothing, pretty badass.
Thank you.
That's my Optimus Prime. That's how I see Optimus Prime.
Thanks, man. Thank you. That was, ironically, that was the first thing I ever drew for IDW. That was the first cover I ever did. So Optimus Prime is, and it was great because at the time I didn't know if I'd ever get to draw Transformers again. So I really poured my heart into that one, and it still remains one of my favorites. So yeah.
Yeah, that's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then,
thanks, man. Thank you.
This is a great piece. Again, this is from Autocracy. This is from what you were describing.
Yeah. So that was that's a story we did where Optimus basically finds the Matrix, and so that's him kind of looking at it for the first time. And I love playing with like lighting and shadows and stuff, and getting to really like blast out the light like that it's been really cool.
This is great. Now, what do you use as far as the I guess I want to almost call it the whatchamacallit? What is that glare effect called these days?
Oh yeah, I mean in Photoshop you call it like an airbrush.
Okay.
So basically you're like just painting with light, and you can make that like light, and then you can color it whatever you want, which is really cool. So that light can become any color. And then
very nice.
I mean, yeah. The good and bad thing about digital work is that you have unlimited options, so you can change things so much, and at the same time, you never really know when you're finished. You know, you can kind of lose your mind that way. But it's been fun for sure.
And let's see, this is another great cover. This is from Chaos.
Thanks. Yeah, this was some other early IDW stuff. So this is actually Megatron wearing some battle armor, so he's sort of pretty armored up here.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. That is really nice.
It almost looks like a samurai type of armor.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking of kind of like a Shredder, Ninja Turtles samurai helmet a bit. It's always tough. This happened to me a couple times with IDW. You get a character that's already pretty formidable and armored up, and then you have to find a way to armor them up more, you know? So that can be tricky, like, because Megatron had just been redesigned right before I came on board to do this. So then it's kind of like you have to go in a different direction, but sort of make it similar, and yeah.
Very nice. This is interesting. This, if it comes up, there we go. So what's the concept behind this? It's very simplistic. Looks like just a planet with the Decepticon symbol.
Yeah.
Oh, so but that's not just any planet, though.
There you go. Cybertron.
It's Cybertron. For some reason, it gets really big when I put the zoom on. I can't do one to the other, but there you go.
Oh, huh. Yeah, it's just high-res kind of scan. But, yeah, so basically that was another cover for Autocracy. At this point in the story, Decepticons have sort of taken over the planet. So that was just a metaphor for kind of a Decepticon-controlled world, you know? But I like the idea of this sort of faction symbol that the entire planet belongs to them.
That's awesome.
So, thank you.
Yeah, I think that gets it definitely got the message across. That is
Cool.
That is a worst case scenario.
Yep, that's true.
This is beautiful. Very moody piece.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
When I look at
was
this,
for,
I kind of think of it of like Optimus Prime saying winter is coming.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, that was another cover where for an IDW store, basically a reactor had gone off. So Optimus Prime everyone thinks it's snow. It's actually supposed to be ash, but he's basically kneeling in ash of, you know, but snow is pretty much the same metaphor, but, you know, he's kind of like kneeling in his failure there.
Yeah, the ash is a slightly bit cooler. That is cool to know.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
And then as we have discussed, Livio, you've done a lot of other things here. I've noticed here, this is great. You've done some Battlestar Galactica work.
I did, yeah, for
phenomenal.
Dynamite. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I did covers for the Death of Apollo series, so it was kind of cool to like play around with just a different idea that would sort of sum up the entire series with each cover, you know? Because I think in some cases they weren't really sure exactly what was happening in each issue when I jumped on. It was kind of early. So trying to make every cover sort of hopefully iconic Apollo cover. But it was really fun because Galactica is another world that I really love a lot.
Did you grow up a Galactica fan?
Not so much the old one. I definitely came in with the new. I was aware of the old classic Galactica, but I definitely came in with like the Ron Moore reimagined Galactica.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I hear that. I mean, that's again awesome cover.
This is sweet.
That is awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then you've also done. You were mentioning Dark Horse. But you've also done Star Wars work in general, right? That you will do at your booth. Is that correct?
Yeah. I just do Star Wars as just paintings for fun. Like that was one I just did sheerly for fun. But that might be the most you know, at least widely trafficked image I've ever done in terms of the internet. I mean, that thing goes around a lot. Like there was a time if you typed in news about Star Wars Battlefront, the new game, that image came up first more than any other image, and that's not even an official image. That was just for fun.
Wow.
But
That's
yeah, that
beautiful.
one's definitely.
I mean,
Yeah.
that image right there is killer.
Oh, thank you. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
I wonder how did that happen? That was the #1 image. Is that because people were sharing it because or was it because of the tags on it? How did that end up?
I mean, I think people. I mean, I think well, obviously Vader and Empire Strikes Back are hugely popular, and even among Star Wars, they're hugely popular. But and I think I've wondered that too, because it might just be the contrast too, that Vader, the black shape, stands up so much against the background that image catches a lot of eyes more than the other ones do. But but at conventions all the time, I hear people come up and they're like, "Oh yeah, that was my desktop background for years," and I've heard that so many times. It's always really nice to hear, but it's also like it's funny because it was just for fun, really. But
wow, that is I mean, you should see what I do just for fun, and it's nowhere near that caliber.
Oh yeah,
this is another great Vader image.
Thanks. Yeah. Try to do that as like a companion piece to the first one of kind of trying to recapture a little bit of that, but change things up, change the colors. You know, the first one was cool, so this one would be like warmer colors.
Well, so you consider yourself consider this a success. Where do you get these? How does this image how did this come into your head of getting this composition? How does that? Are you influenced by some things you've seen? Is this something that comes to you in your dreams? Are you tapped into an alternate reality or dimension?
I don't know. It depends. I mean, I definitely don't get a lot from my dreams. I wish I did. I've heard of I know James Cameron is a guy who gets like a lot of stuff from his dreams. I'm like, that would be nice. That would be nice to have a constant inspiration. Sometimes, you just have an idea one day. Other days, you want to use a certain character. Like I feel like doing a Yoda painting, and then you really struggle to come up with a good idea. The Vader Hoth one, and then this one here, those were ideas I had pretty strongly. Like just kind of Vader is such a cool character with like a great sort of silhouette. It's fun to sort of build an environment around him. So I mean, I would say, it just kind of depends on the specific image. But yeah. And then of course, study movies all the time. Like I'm a big Ridley Scott guy, so his lighting, huge inspiration.
This is phenomenal. This is Darth Maul. This is beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Not much else to say about this one other than this is just pure awesome. I love this.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to play on the idea of stand people being afraid of him, because I was thinking he's hanging around on Tatooine during the Phantom Menace, that they would have looked at him and probably think he was like a demon because he looks so scary. So, and they're such a superstitious sort of people. So, yeah,
they're very simple. The sand people.
Yeah.
I love the two suns, and I guess they're setting.
Yeah,
is that where the red sky's coming from?
I think this is it looks like this is them setting.
Yeah, that's just, I love it, and you colored this. You selected you did the colors, incredible shades of red and brown, and it's gorgeous, and I love the way the background background people are sand people are.
Thank you.
Are lit.
So Livio, this is probably trying to the same thing as asking somebody what their favorite child is, but since you do everything from soup to nuts, you do the sketching, the penciling, and the coloring and everything. What to you in your art is your favorite piece of the process?
I probably I think either the really rough layout version, like stage, or the finished coloring, because I think the in-between is sort of the hard work where, if you put down a layout that you like, then with the line drawing stage, you have to try and hopefully capture that energy and the detail and stuff while maintaining everything. And then that's kind of hard. Then the end stage, we're just sort of noodling away to find details. I really that is probably my favorite stage, is when you feel like you like the painting and you're just doing fine little highlights here and there. That is probably my favorite part.
Awesome. And here's another piece. Looks like the Emperor with his royal guard.
Yeah, they're meant to just be kind of surveying some planet. So I did that Vader Hoth one, and then I started a series of kind of with the Darth Maul, and then this one, the other Vader Fire one, of a character sort of in the center, and then building the environment out from them. I like the idea of a series where you sort of have to play with that that rough form of, your main guy's going to be in the center and then the environment wraps around him.
Oh, I love it. I also love that angle of basically looking from kind of from the ground up.
Yeah.
It's just,
thank you.
I love it. It's gorgeous. I love that Imperial shuttle in the background. And I loved those Imperial guards.
Oh, thank you so much.
I could never get enough of them, and they should have used them more in the movies. But that is
They're
awesome.
awesome. They're a great design. Yeah, yeah.
And this looks like it's an official cover.
Yeah.
This is from Dark Horse. So this is from the Star Wars Legacy series.
Yeah, that was the first Dark Horse cover I did. Yeah.
Awesome.
So, yeah, that was fun to play around with. Yeah, it was cool because I'd done a lot of like Star Wars stuff for fun, and that was the first official thing I did. So. Yeah.
So, Livio, other than the Dark Horse comics, have you done anything else for Lucasfilm officially?
I have not. I've always wanted to. Like someone approached me about working on the Clone Wars at one point, like in house, and I was really tempted because I loved the Clone Wars series. But at the time, I was at Wildstorm, and I was sort of happy there. I don't know. I mean, it really kind of it depends. I would love to do more official Star Wars stuff, especially now with there's more stuff than ever being made in that universe. So yeah, but nothing official.
And it's also going to be the official universe for quite a while.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Now, you've also done some comic-based stuff. This I find very striking. Mr. Freeze and Norma.
Oh, thank you.
This is beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I was a big fan of the Batman animated series. I still am. And Heart of Ice, the Mr. Freeze origin episode, is one of the best episodes ever of that series. So I did that as like a launch.
Yeah, that episode basically legitimized Mr. Freeze as just one of the great Batman villains.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, you really capture. What I love is you really captured that pain in Victor Freeze's face.
Thank you.
Looking at his beautiful Nora in that snow globe, and he's in his own globe. It's awesome.
Thank you, man. Thank you. That's exactly what I was going for, showing how isolated he is from her and she is from him, really.
And Livio, this was just a personal piece that you did for yourself, or you do this for when you were at Artist Alley? Okay.
I did that just when I was at Wildstorm. I just did it, and then just a personal piece. Yeah.
And this is interesting too. This is Bane.
Yeah, from Dark Knight Rises.
I like this a lot.
Yeah, I liked that design of Bane a lot. Like the mask and how
same here. And the jacket.
Yeah. He looked like the revolutionary mixed with sort of like the gorilla sort of teeth. I thought there was something really neat about that combo. So I just wanted to draw him.
Awesome. And then, just to go down here a little bit, just to show off some of your work, you do as well, pencil and ink. So I know we showed this image before, but this is interesting to see just in the pencil and ink stage before it gets the color applied.
Ooh.
And I love the detail. I mean, this, this is...
oh, thank you.
This is basically comic art in its purest form, I think, that when you do have it in that pencil and ink stage before you hit it with color, this is in its purest form. And so this is a great example of... before you hit that color change, it's still a finished piece of work.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, you can see how raw it is too, because the scan, you can see some some of the paper is still showing. That's definitely a raw image, and that was the pencils for that first cover we pulled up. But yeah,
I gotta say, I love the vantage points. I love your vantage point. I love that everything is instead of straight on, you're always looking at and it gives you. I mean, it gives me this feeling of how big these characters are, or how imposing these characters are. Like with your, your Star Wars series, when you have Darth Vader or the Emperor surrounded by the guards, not only how big they are, but how menacing that they're coming towards you. I love those angle shots to get, not just the front. And this is another great one.
This is great.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to play around with the scale on these guys, make them seem huge, and I like to texture them up and make them look old and battle scarred too.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of those things that makes it just gives it that extra layer of oomph. That's not just a brand new toy, it wasn't just made yesterday.
Yeah.
Now I have a question.
Sure.
And this goes. This is also for Alan. Why do the Dinobots fly?
Well, that in general, I don't know, Alan, if you want to tackle this one first.
Well, I feel like there's been an inconsistency with this. It used to be,
Yes.
if you watch the earliest episodes of Transformers, all of them can fly at one point, and then it was established that the Autobots cannot fly. It was only a Decepticon thing that they could fly. But then you would see the movie, you would see the Dinobots fly. I feel like there's no consistency to the rule of what robots can fly and what cannot.
Yeah. Yeah, Alan's exactly right. When they first showed up, every character could fly. And then eventually, I think when they sort of shifted permanently into, okay, Autobots are always cars for the most part. The Decepticons are jets, basically. Then they can fly. You know, but then, yeah, the truth of the matter is there's not really a reason why Dinobots can fly. Like, of any of them, those should be the most grounded characters, except for Swoop.
I always thought one of the jokes of the More Than Meets the Eyes miniseries, the first miniseries, was that I think there's a point in that series where the Autobots are flying, but toward the end of the series, Optimus Prime needs Sideswipe's backpack to fly.
Yep.
That was in the three. That was in the initial three-parter pilot.
Yep. So right away there was an inconsistency to it.
Yeah, that's true.
And in the Transformers '86 movie, the Autobots no longer can fly, but the Dinobots do. They fly. They fly off of the ship that arrives at the Autobot city to save the day.
And they also fly at the end toward Unicron. They're flying, attacking him. So
Yeah.
Now I gotta say, I love this piece here because this is based on one of my favorite pieces of art of the '80s. Not just Transformers, but of all time. Transformers #5. Autobots are all dead with Shockwave. I love this.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I love that cover too. That cover is great, and that issue really stuck with me. Where Shockwave's just hanging out with dead bodies hanging from the ceiling.
Yep.
Like, we love that so much. We actually put that basic idea back into an issue of Transformers IDW, where he's hanging out in a layer where he just has robots hanging from the ceiling. It's such a creepy idea, but yeah.
It's what to me cemented Shockwave as just one of the major badass villains.
Yeah,
totally.
I mean, he was wasted in the animated series. He's just this guy who hangs around watching Cybertron for Megatron while he's away.
Yeah, he's a babysitter.
Later, he's doing the same damn thing.
Yeah.
Whereas in the comics, I mean, they made him a legitimate threat to Decepticon leadership, and it made so much more sense for him to be a threat rather than Starscream.
Yeah, totally, yeah. Yeah, there's something, he's a great design, too. There's something about that one eye just being so, like, unsympathetic. I mean, it's really a great design.
Great call.
Yeah, very cool.
No, and great call on that one eye.
Oh, yeah.
That and didn't even think. It's that Cyclops. That Cyclops one eye just stares into your soul and it doesn't give a rat's butt.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is great, Iron Patriot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was a commission from somebody. Yeah.
Very cool.
Very cool. Black and white, but you could see it. It's the Iron Patriot. It's awesome.
Cool. Nice. Thank you.
All right. So, Livio, are there any particular pieces here you want to specifically talk about? I know I've been randomly picking these out.
No, I'm trying to think what. Yeah, you're covering a lot of the ones that I really like. Let's see. If you go up, I just did a new Ray piece. If you go up the far left, right under Optimus Prime Megatron.
Right here?
Yeah, that one. Yep, that one.
Oh, great.
This
is nice.
Yes, I wanted to do like a quiet Ray scene. So that's supposed to be her sort of just reading a book, on Jakku. And it was funny because I was trying to figure out like what a book in the Star Wars universe would look like.
It's a Kindle.
Because I don't think there's been what? So I was like, well, in episode 2, there's a library, this blue glowing stuff. So I'm like, okay, maybe the books or something like that. It could be that.
Yeah.
So, yes, that's where the light blue comes from. But yeah, it's her iPad.
Very nice.
Thank you.
That's awesome. I wonder, does she have to buy a new one every other year?
But yeah.
All right.
Uh,
And I see here also you do you have concept art.
Yeah, so a lot of this comes from when I was at Wildstorm. The top row is DC Universe Online, and then some of the other games we worked on. You know, so you and I randomly, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, this
that's
was
beautiful.
for Gotham City. This was an amusement park called the Amusement Mile. So just basically like a twisted Gotham City amusement park, and you know that fits that city pretty well. So
Yeah, that's. It looks like it could come from one of the video games too.
yeah. I mean that's what we designed it for. Yeah, this was before the whole Arkham series, you know. So yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, this is like the rail yards in Gotham City. So it's cool because we would do real life research based on real rail yards and then just crank it up to 11 and try and think of like an overbuilt, again, like a big Ridley Scott influence on lots of smoke and, you know.
Very, I would say very industrial.
Yeah.
It really gives,
Totally.
it's industrial, a little sterile. This is what a Gotham's rail yard should look like.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I see there's a Green Lantern Rise of the Manhunter. You know, I'm not familiar with this particular game. This is an Upper Deck Wildstorm game?
It was a DS game that I believe, I think Sony put it out. I can't remember. But we did a bunch of so these are actual like backgrounds that are in the game.
Oh,
so you
wow.
would play, and this would sort of be behind you as you were playing. So this was Oa, kind of the Green Lantern homeworld.
All right, Pedro, we'll have to test your DC geekiness. Did you know about this game? I haven't heard of this one.
Well, let me just put it this way. You need to have a DS, and other than the Arkham cities, not that many recommended video games that make any kind of that make a splash. But I don't know. I did not know about this game. I'm gonna assume it came out around the Ryan Reynolds movie.
Yeah, 100%. This was done in like I think 2008 or 9. We worked on it, so it's quite a while back.
Okay,
and
if the movie doesn't have a lot of buzz, sometimes these games are don't generate the buzz, and it all depends also how long they took to develop it.
Yeah, I think that's right.
But I'll look. But now I'm going to look for it because now I know that your art is in it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And this is great. It looks like there's some untitled games here that you did some work for.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
I know that your art is in it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And this is great. It looks like there's some untitled games here that you did some work for.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Did I lose you guys?
No, I think we heard an echo in the background. I thought you were playing the video.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. No, I don't. No, what is this here?
These were some untitled games that we'd worked on. I can't even really say, even to this day, what they were supposed to be, like the official titles, but just a bunch of kind of science fiction sort of concepts. Like I think this one was an arena, if I'm seeing the right one. And
wow.
Yeah, so just cool to come up with concepts. I mean, these games never got made, these particular ones, because eventually DC Universe Online games sort of took over all of our time, and that became our focus for 5 years. But yeah, these are some concepts. Random.
Wow. Yeah. So what did you end up doing for that DC Online game? What kind of stuff, what did they have you do?
Like just the art that Alan was pulling up earlier of like the amusement park and the rail yards. That was all concept art for the game. So it was me and a team of like other 6 artists. We were just designing the whole world really. So we were designing Gotham City and Metropolis, and because the MMO was massive. I mean, these cities were huge, so they needed a ton of design work. And then we would do the concept art, and then Sony would build the 3D, and then that became the game.
Wow.
So yeah.
I mean, these things are, and you basically, and again, I imagine you do some research to get a kind of look. Oh, look at these ruins.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we try and base a lot of it in the real world, you know, because I think things really do look better if they come from some concept of reality, you know, whether it's mountains or statues in this case. And then from there, you sort of extrapolate outward and stuff. So a lot of this, there's actually some photo collage in here of like taking existing statues and just, you know, tweaking them and making them look crazier. So, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So, yeah, so just a reminder, everybody, if anybody wants to see this, This is at Livio's site. It's www.livioramondelli.com.
Yeah, and also if they want to check out my Instagram, it's Livio Ramondelli, and I update the most. I update that more than this site. If anyone wants to see, like I update that one almost every day.
Okay. I've been noticing that actually.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Now, Livio, I want to ask you, how did you get into How did you get into doing art? Was it something that you always wanted to do, or is it something you just stumbled on?
Yeah, I mean, I always wanted to do it for sure since I was a kid. You know, I was sketching all day long instead of going outside. Like I think a lot of kids have that that story. And then, yeah, and I was a big comic book fan. I was hoping I'd get to do it one day. You never really know what'll happen. And then later on, I went to art school, and this kind of was saying before, like I thought I was going to get like an in-house video game job because I thought that'd be a little more stable. And yeah, and I'm lucky enough to call it a career now. But you know, it's been a blast because it's the thing that makes me the most happy, really. So.
Oh, that's awesome. What were your influences?
Yeah. Well, when I was younger, I mean, definitely Transformers G1 was a huge influence on me. Star Wars, you know, pretty much the classic stuff. When I got older, I became much more of like a Ridley Scott guy and David Fincher, where like their use of lighting. Because when I was younger, I thought I maybe would just do like line art and penciling. I didn't really think I'd color anything. But getting older, like Fincher and Ridley Scott, like I've learned so much about color and come to really love it that I couldn't imagine not doing it now. So, yeah.
And when you say you grew up with G1, did you actually see the cartoon while it broadcast? Were you old enough to see it broadcast live?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was like watching it every day when I got home, and yeah, and then the animated movie, I don't remember that for the first time. I just sort of always remember knowing that movie. You know, it's sort of like Star Wars. I don't really remember the moment I saw like Vader reveal he was Luke's father. I just kind of always have those memories that was always part of my childhood. So, but yeah, the animated movie I remember renting like over and over again, like the same copy from like our local VHS store, and just loving it. You know, I remember for years because that thing was really hard to find where I lived.
Yes,
and,
kid.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
kids. Before Netflix, you literally had to walk out of your house and go to a store where they had all these big, but they looked like I don't know, these little little coffins, the cassettes, video cassettes, basically,
Yeah.
of movies, and that's how we would watch movies that came out, or older ones.
It's insane.
And we had to walk there in barefoot in the snow.
Uphill both ways.
Uphill.
I didn't see Transformers the movie in theaters, but I did the same thing. I rented it from my video store, and it was shocking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, it's
I saw it in theaters.
War movie, yeah.
Yeah, you know, Pedro, when me and Steve saw it, you know, a couple of years ago in the Alamo.
Yes.
That used to be a movie land, and that's where I had originally saw the movie.
Wow.
Was in Movie Land when it first came out. I remember that.
Wow, that is very cool, because I can't imagine seeing that in the theaters. But I did see the Care Bears in the theaters.
You'll get to live that one down.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So did you know? Did you draw in high school? Were you the kid that was, instead of listening and paying attention to class, you were doodling in your books?
Oh yeah, I mean, I tried to pay attention in class, but I mean, and I was pretty good, but I definitely didn't care really. Like I was always about drawing and stuff. Like I always tried to be responsible, which is so funny now because like the stuff I was drawing, and I think a lot of people who draw professionally have that story. It's like the algebra that you're learning at the time. You never used it for anything, but the drawing that they didn't want you to do, that's what's your career.
Exactly.
So it's a really funny thing, you know? Not that that's a great message for kids, but it's pretty funny.
But hey, if you're really into something, it tells you have to put in a lot of time and work.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
And I really hope you go back to that algebra teacher and said, "What you see what I do now? You see."
Yeah. Oh, I've thought about having those power fantasies to go back. Yeah.
Where's your algebra now?
I know.
Very
Oh,
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
And are you still into the? Oh, I'm sorry, Alan. Go right ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Are you still into? And are you still into the geek stuff? I mean, I see the
Oh, yeah.
Enterprise over your left shoulder.
I do. Yeah, I can give you a closer look if you want to see it.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
This was a custom-built Enterprise I had made, so it's an existing kit. But I had someone go in, a really talented model maker named David Wyndham, who does custom orders if anyone wants to get in touch. But I'll show you. Hang on one second. So this thing lights up.
Wow.
I had them put in the Wrath of Khan battle damage here, and then the Star Trek VI torpedo hit here. So it's continuity's bending a little bit, but it's a really cool model.
Oh, that is awesome. First of all, did you watch the movies when they were in the theaters back in the day?
I definitely did. Yeah, I was a huge Star Trek fan. That was another big love of mine. So,
Same here. Same here. Oh, now it doesn't shoot torpedoes and phasers, does it?
It does. Yeah. I mean, it lights up. It doesn't actually shoot a torpedo, but it does light up, and it makes the sound effect. But it was a blast. Like I was trying to think the next custom thing to have made, and I was debating a carbon freezing chamber that would actually send up steam, because the guy that does this is really talented, and he likes pushing the boundaries on kind of lights and atmosphere and stuff with his model. So
wow.
Yeah. That's a dangerous collecting hole to go into, is the whole customizing thing.
Totally, because Alan, you and I both collect expensive toys already, right? And then the custom stuff is the next level of expensive.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, you too, man. I can see your wall.
What you should try to, I think what the next thing you should get customized is a little Spock casket that you can shoot out of the Enterprise.
And it plays Amazing Grace in the background.
I love it. That's a great idea.
On the bagpipes.
On the bagpipes.
That's amazing. I'm going to email him right now.
Oh, man.
Great.
Very cool.
Oh, dude, it's been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this. It's great to know that the guys that create, that create this beautiful art on the products that we get are, I don't want to insult you, but are kind of like us.
No, you're a true geek. It was an honor to get to do the cover, and I mean, I think about Transformers every day, so it's great. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I see, and the fact that we got a lot of the same interests. I mean, I see Bam and the animated series over there, and Star Wars, Star Trek. I don't know. Were you G.I. Joe? Did you watch G.I. Joe back in the day?
I watched it a bit. I was definitely more of a Transformers guy, I think, I don't know why, because, I mean, I've always had a fondness for G.I. Joe, like getting to do, like, the Cobra Commander. There's a Cobra Commander cover I did recently with Megatron on it. It was a blast. And, I mean, like, just getting to – I think growing up, Transformers was always my number one thing, and Star Wars was the same thing. G.I. Joe, not as much, but I still love those characters, I'm waiting for, like, a really great G.I. Joe movie to come, too, so –
good luck.
Was that your guys' main thing? I know. Yeah. Were you guys both big G.I. Joe guys? I know, Alan, you are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we were. G.I. Joe was definitely one of my favorite toys growing up. But I also but He-Man was also my favorite. Transformers were also my favorite. Yeah. Mask were my favorite. But G.I. Joe and Transformers, which for me, G.I. Joe edging it out. It was, just to make a long story short, besides the fact that they were cheaper than Transformers, the Transformers you could afford with the little mini bots, and you weren't as cool as the bigger ones that were more expensive. Whereas I could get half a dozen GI Joes, get a few of them for Christmas, and the vehicles, and I don't know. There's something about that lore.
Yeah.
The lore on the cartoon was a little bit better than Transformers until like the second season when they started tying everything in.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And anything you're working on that you want to share that people should be looking out, that people should pick up, that might be on the stands now?
The thing I'm working on now, Alan kind of teased it too, but I'm doing some work for Inside Editions. I'm doing another Star Trek book for them. So I just did a travel guide to Vulcan, and I don't know if we can say what the next one is. I think it's been announced, but
you know what? I don't think it's been officially announced just yet.
I won't say it. I won't say it. But
hopefully we'll be able to come back on soon and be able to say what it is. But I don't know if it's been officially noted yet.
Okay.
But yeah, it is going to be. It'll be another piece of the Star Trek world.
Totally, and it's going
to be doing art for.
Yeah.
And so, hopefully we'll be able to get you to be doing a number of these in this series, and then hopefully we're going to be able to. My dream is that we'll eventually be able to do this for Cybertron, and then.
Wow.
If we ever did, we'd bring you on for that. But the problem with that is that, right now we don't have a license with Hasbro.
Yeah.
I keep nudging the owner to try and get on that.
Yeah.
But it's difficult. Hasbro, the interesting thing with Hasbro, for those out there who are interested, is that trying to get a license with them, particularly involving Transformers, you're also worrying about the license as it pertains to Michael Bay.
Yeah.
And even though Michael Bay, it's a thing. Even though he is just doing the movies, a lot of how the Transformers license is handed out these days takes Michael Bay into account, and that particularly pertains to publishing. And that's why it's not so easy to obtain a publishing license with Hasbro, particularly for Transformers. You'd be the first person on the short list, I'm sure, to say, Cybertron? Yeah, I got to go to Livio for that.
Oh, thanks, man. No, I appreciate that. Yeah. That sounds like that should be, in a way, I mean, I think everyone would love to work on that. Like all my friends in the comics would, that could be a cool team effort too.
Yep.
But
I'm out the world all the time to try to get the Hasbro license thing going. And, at the moment, it's on a list.
Yeah, that's cool. Nice.
All right, so we know you're working with IDW. You're continuing to work with IDW on Revolution.
Yeah, I can't really say what exactly we're doing right now. Aside from the fact that there's some covers I did coming out. Transformers 57 I finished. I think that comes out this Wednesday. That's the next one. And then, more Transformers stuff.
At your local comic book retailer, folks.
That's true. That's true.
And then we know you go to a lot of shows. You're going to be at New York Comic Con.
I will. I'll be in New York Comic Con in about 2 weeks now. And then, that's the next huge show. Yeah, and that's one I do every year. I'm really looking forward to it.
So you fly out. Right. You fly out for New York Comic Con.
Yeah. I'm based in Los Angeles. Yeah.
My apologies. No, just kidding.
I'm jelly.
It's a dumb habit. I enjoy it.
Well, Livio. First, folks, it's Livio, if you want to know. I hope to meet you at New York Comic Con. I may not. I may not be there. I think I only have a Thursday ticket, unless some miracle happens. I'm only going to be there Thursday. But I recommend that people come to go Artist Alley and check you out. Check out your work. Pick up a few prints. They're absolutely worth it. Okay,
thank you.
And continue making such great art. All right. This is what I love about Transformers and Transformers Now is that there's such a great community. There's there are people that love it and people with talent working on it. I only wish that could happen more with G.I. Joe, but please continue cranking out that great work, and I look forward to more of your IDW Star Trek.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So this is Plastic in Disguise. I'm Pedro Rodriguez.
Alan Kaplan. And we were very proud to have Livio Ramondelli here with us. So thanks again, Livio. Much appreciated.
Yeah, it was great to talk to you guys. Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate
no problem, man. We'd love to have you in the future when you have some, when you can show us some secrets.
Cool. For sure, I will.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.